back to the Be Real podcast, where we keep it cute, classy, and just a little bit cheeky. Now, before we start any episode, you know I have to give you the Be Real tip of the month. This month's Be Real tip of the month is stop waiting to feel motivated. Discipline is what gets you where you want to be and not how you feel on the day. That being said, we're going to get into our next episode. Today's episode is going to be about mindfulness, your mindset, success, and I thought who better to have than S.3. So she's joining me today, guys, and let's be nice, this is your first podcast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it's not going to be your last, okay?
No.
This is her first podcast. So let's just jump straight in. Tell me about yourself. Like, who are you? What do you do?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited today. And well, my name is S.3, typical English name. I came to London 9 years ago to be a dentist. And then after being a dentist, I found out so many things that I was so passionate about.
Yeah.
So I started doing life coaching. And then with life coaching, I started doing YouTube and Instagram. And then I did Pilates. And
Oh my God.
yeah, there's so much more to do.
Listen, I can relate because so many creative things that I do, and you're like, you need to pick a lane, girl, you need to pick a lane. But okay, nice. So, all right, so let's go back a little bit. So you started with orthodontics? Dentistry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so you done general dentistry for like 9 years?
6 years. So I was studying for 6 years and then I moved here to London
because it's
9 years
a
ago.
lot.
Yeah.
I have been a receptionist and a dentist, so I understand. Like, it takes a lot of practice to be a dentist.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's good. It's like it's fun. It's exciting because like you get to be around people, and that's what I love the most. I guess it's like everything I do sounds a bit like not connected, but I think it's all connected.
Of course. You're in someone's mouth.
Yeah.
How much more connected can you be?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you, because I'm very squirmish.
Yeah.
And I've seen before when people have sent in x-rays, right? And I've seen, I can never say this word, an abscess,
yeah.
and things like that. And you just think like, how did that, is it that's like poor hygiene and things like that can make it?
So like most of the times, yes. And it's always treatable, like we can always see things. But it's just like, you know, with people, it's not so much that they don't want to take care of themselves. I find that it's more like they're scared just because they don't know. So that they just don't know and they just don't trust. They feel,
The dentist, as a kid, I just thought it was a scary place. I can't lie. I was so scared of, I don't know why, like even now, no, I'm not scared now.
No.
I'm not really scared now, but you just used to be so scared of the dentist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the injections in the mouth and oh my gosh.
Everyone is still scared now.
Yeah,
like, I would say 99% of my patients, they walk in and they're like, I don't want to be here, I'm so scared. And I feel so empathetic and so compassionate towards them because it does make sense. Like I think it's had a very bad vibe like throughout the years, and you mostly go to the dentist because you're scared and you think you're going to have a problem or they're going to find a problem. What are they going to do to me? And you don't really go for a chat or like, let's just chat for my hygiene. Let's just chat, give me like some tips for my hygiene, etc. So,
and I can't lie, I've learned so many things now about brushing and about the teeth. I'm like, why was I taught this as a child? You know, why wasn't this taught in schools or even the parents like teaching us this? Because so many things about the hygiene and flossing and, you know, how you should hold your toothbrush and how long you should brush your teeth. And even like when the electric toothbrush came in, people used to wiggle it around in their mouth and they're like, no, you should like hold it steady, each tooth for like this amount of time.
Yeah.
Like these things, they're not common knowledge, I don't think.
Yeah, I think back in the days, people used to be more in like, I'm going to tell you what you did wrong, rather than now in all professions. I think everyone is trying to say, look, there's a way to prevent things from happening, or I can educate you in this, you can get educated in that before things happening. I think prevention was not actually a thing, not just in dentistry, but in life, you know? So I think that's why we actually are better off now rather than when we were kids.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my God, that is so... No, honestly, that's golden. People would always tell you more what you've done wrong than how you can make the problem better or what's the... Oh my God, I'm learning already. Yeah. Okay. So now I want to move swiftly along to your coaching.
Yeah.
I want to delve into that and what type of coaching do you do? Are you a basketball coach? Are you a netball coach? What type of coaching is it? And how did this come about?
So I'm doing life coaching. It's mostly about wellness, but not in the sense of like sport coaching, even if I do play volleyball.
Oh.
Yeah. It's mostly about helping people find their patterns and understand why are things actually happening the same way again and again and again. And I think that sometimes things happen in our lives, but we don't understand that it may look like a different problem, but it's actually the same problem, just dressed differently. And so I found out that while I was working as a dentist, while I was meeting so many people, while I was traveling, I could see people doing similar things and maybe like same things, but they always thought that it's something different. Why did this go wrong again?
Yeah.
And then I saw these patterns, I was seeing these patterns. Obviously, it's easier to see them in other people rather than yourself. And then that really intrigued me. And I was like, oh my God, if they actually see this loop, they will just be able to understand more things. And when they understand more things, they will not repeat the same pattern. They will break the circle and the cycle. And so because I was always very close to people, like having my patients, like growing up in a big family and always being very intrigued and like meeting people, etc., it came up. I think it was like the natural thing to come about, life coaching.
Yeah.
And I think there was an opportunity through dentistry, and there was a course that was starting, and I was like, I'm just gonna try, you know, like kids walking and they just like look at this and this and the student like, I want to try this, I want to try this. I think this is pretty much how I am. And then I started it, and then I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. I'm that person in like a big group of people. I'm the person who would be like, oh wow, that's going on here, like that's interesting, like tell me more. Oh, and you're thinking of this way to solve it, like and you know, asking all these questions and like and it just like was a natural thing to do, I think.
So being so intrigued has led you down this whole career path.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much training did you have to do for this?
It wasn't long. It was not. It was like a year long. And I think the longest thing was like the essays that you need to write. I guess like with everything. And I think because like in dentistry, you don't have that much of like paper. What you do, but it's mostly like practical. And I'm a very practical person. Like with this, it was a lot of like actually writing down your reflections of the, you know, of the sessions and everything. And I think that was the most difficult thing, rather than actually finding the people to coach and like speaking to them, because I love that. But then, you know, you had to write down like what you see, etc. Which I find value now.
Yes.
Because like everything that's written for you and for someone else is actually a contract, I think. Because like you gave so much and they gave so much as well. And then it's a contract that you're actually going to honor. That's how I think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so one burning question. What are the best types of people to coach for you personally?
I think the best people to coach is people who have actually thought about their lives in more depth. And that doesn't have to do with what profession you do. It's more about like, I want to change.
Yeah.
Help me change, basically. So it's not like the coach does actually change you. It's more like they ask you questions and you are actually
the tools kind of how to...
it's more like that. So you wouldn't be able to change somebody who, for example, doesn't see anything wrong with them, right? So somebody who doesn't reflect and say, oh, actually last year I did this and this and this, I could have done this better, or I need some work in my emotional intelligence, I think, you know, I'm not doing very well there.
Yeah.
So people who don't review themselves and who are not, I'm not going to say like judging themselves harshly, but more like reflecting on what they do.
I'm so reflective.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a reflective person. I think sometimes I'm maybe can you be too reflective?
I think so.
Yeah, can you, like, I think maybe I overanalyze things.
Yeah.
I think that's what my trouble, and then I get caught in like, oh God, like, I think I probably go too far with it. Okay.
I think it's actually still good, overanalyzing. Like, I think there's so much bad rep about overanalyzing as well. And I was speaking to a friend the other day about this, and I was like, it's good as long as it doesn't burn you out. Anything that doesn't burn you out and is not hurting someone, I don't think it's a bad thing, because I reflect so much as well. And it's so much fun because I love reflecting. So like, so for example, my mum and my dad, they hate it. And they hate these conversations, right? I don't know where I got to from. But like for them, one reflective conversation is like, oh my God, it's like working 12 hours.
Oh my God, I can relate. My mum's the same. She's like, oh, you overanalyze things. And she always says that to me, because I naturally do, like, I do reflect on like the words people say, like, and the things. So I suppose for other people it could be a bit draining, because I'm like, you have to be conscious of what you say, because I will reflect on those words and say, well, actually, you shouldn't have said it like this because blah, blah, you know, and to someone else, it's like, oh, that's really, but I do reflect. I think I do reflect a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
See, it's a good thing, okay? It's not a bad thing. All right. So I have a few questions for you.
Of course, yeah.
So I feel like, and I've seen it a lot, like people often want success, but they don't often know like what it takes to get success. So I want to ask you, like, what does success mean to you? If someone was going to ask you that.
Yeah, so I think success is different for everyone. So for example, for someone it can be owning like 10 cars, for someone it can be owning like 10 houses, and for someone it can be like me, being a mom or a dad. So I think success is really, really a personal thing. The most difficult thing is to actually find your meaning of success. I think that takes, I don't want to say it takes like years, but it just takes conscious effort to actually find what does success mean for you. And for me, for example, success means to everything I see that I want to be involved in, no matter if it's going to be bad or good, if it's going to drain me or not, everything I'm interested, I really want to, you know, before you live this life, I always have this picture in my head, before I live this life, I want to say to myself, you've done everything that you wanted to do, everything you were interested,
Oh my God, I really felt that. I think I need to write that down, what success means to me.
Yeah. I think once you find it, it's just going to be like with you forever, you know, you're just going to carry it with you all the time. And I think it makes life so much easier because then you prioritize things and then like you live your day-to-day life by that rule, which is very personal. So nobody can actually say to you, because I think we spend so much time listening to videos and like podcasts and stuff about what success is, how can you find success? But then
we want it quickly. We're like, how do you find success?
Yeah, but like it's so personal for everyone, and then you end up trying to find someone else's success. Yeah, and you just take the wrong plane, go somewhere, and then you're like, I actually don't like it here because you just didn't spend the time to actually buy the correct tickets.
Yeah. Oh, we should drop in some nuggets today. Wow. Okay, so you're leaving us with some really good gems. Like, I can't wait to watch this back and, you know, just take some notes.
Thank you.
So if you had to say discipline versus motivation, what would you say about that?
I think motivation sounds so sexy.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is, to be honest. I don't think...
I'm one of the ones that like, I need a motivational post. I need something to help me.
I think it's so cute because I do it as well. Yeah. It's like something that's good to have there. It's like, for example, having like stickers in your bedroom. Like they're nice, they're aesthetically pleasing, but they're not the ones actually doing the job and the work, if that makes sense.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, I think as a dentist, like what I say to my patients is like, you really need to go and do the work. Like you need to clean the floor, right? You need to clean your teeth. You cannot just say, I bought this expensive toothpaste, right? And it's, I think what motivation is like a nice, beautiful toothpaste or like a nice, beautiful product to clean your body. But if you don't scrub, things will not happen. And I think it's the same with discipline. Like being disciplined in life is, I think, the sexiest thing because it's what gives you what you want in life.
So true. There isn't like a quick fix. You need to be disciplined. And you know when it's like, you know this, like, okay, all I can put is me and the gym. So sometimes when I'm consistent, when I've got my discipline and I see the results and I'm loving it, and then you fall off and then you sort of say, oh, I need motivation to go back. Instead of thinking, I just need to go back. And if I keep going back, it's such a...
Yeah.
I wish you could just turn off that thing and just have the disciplined brain. But it's so hard.
I think the way to get the disciplined brain is to mostly be very future focused. Now, sometimes that doesn't keep you in the present, but I think being future focused and thinking of yourself, having achieved that, is what can motivate you and keep you disciplined and keep you moving forward. So motivation can come here and be like just like the start, just like the spark in the beginning. Yeah. But then discipline is what's going to drag you towards your future self. And then, for example, like you said about the gym, right? It can be like exhausting and boring and you don't want to do the reps and everything. But then when you're thinking about your future self, being like having the body you want, having that health you want. I think that's the one thing we don't really think about very often. And that's when I speak about visualization as well. Like I think many people think visualization is magic, but I think visualization is what helps you move forward in life because you constantly think about that future self. You constantly think that you want to have that. And then when you think of the bigger picture, then the smaller things you don't have to think about. You don't have to like pressure yourself.
Sure, because you're just like,
because you're like, I want that Yinka, I want her, like I want to be her, and you're just like so wanting to be more connected to her. So it just becomes more of like a natural thing rather than. So that's what discipline is, the natural thing. It's not like I need to pressure myself, I need to write stuff on the wall, which I think is great. I write stuff on the wall, I have post-it notes everywhere. It's just like the small addition. It's not like the actual thing, motivation.
I think the visual, as you were saying that, I just started visualizing myself, right?
How did I feel?
And it felt really good. Like already it took the weight off because I started visualizing like the Yinka with the great body and all of this. And I was just like, I need to go so I can get to her. Oh my gosh, visualization is my thing. Yeah. That's really going to work for me because I think I'm quite a visual person anyway. I think I've got good imagination. So what would you say are like the key habits to have to maybe be successful or have a better successful brain?
So I think in life to be successful, what you need is something that's intrinsic. So not something that carries you from the outside, but something from the inside.
Okay.
So for example, if you want to be successful in a career just because your parents want you, I don't think you will ever be successful. I think if you want to be a parent or like have a house or whatever, just because other people have made you believe that, I don't think you will ever be successful and happy and fulfilled. And I think other than being successful, I think successful is very tied to being fulfilled in life because that's when you actually have the things, but you're also smiling. You know, like there's so many people that have so many things in life and they're like millionaires, billionaires, but not having that substance which is called fulfillment is what is keeping them away from actual success. Because succeeding in someone else's lane, somewhere where somebody else put you, again with the plane ticket, because somebody bought that ticket and then you boarded that plane, you went somewhere, and then it feels like success because it's it's like a nice thing to have many houses and many cars, but it actually is not something you ever wanted. So I think success is very much tied to being fulfilled. And so if you want to be whatever you want to be today, whatever profession, or even like you want to be, for example, more patient as a person, do you want to be that because of you, or is this something that someone else planted in your head? And you will only be truly successful when it's actually coming from the inside. So because you understood why is it tied to you, what does it mean to you, why are you doing this today?
Yeah.
Oh,
we need to write that down. So why is it tied to you? Why are you doing it today? And what was the third one? You said a third. I'll have to rewind. You said a third. But I'm gonna, wow. Yeah, it's so true. I've got a lot to think about. Because sometimes I feel like I know exactly what I want and I know what I would feel I need to do in order to be successful for myself and to fulfill myself. But I think I need to go even deeper because like with the whole motivation and discipline, like there's so many things that are off. You know, and I'm like, oh, I'm not motivated, but it all comes from yourself. So you just have to really, like you said, that the coaching that you do is giving people the tools. What would you say about, because this is something that I feel holds me back sometimes, like dealing with self-doubt, because I feel like I can push through, but sometimes I do have those thoughts and it does hold. I think before, when I was younger, it used to really hold me back. And I feel like, for example, me posting on YouTube, I used to do videos like years ago, and I used to post like little bits here and there or even delete them. But I think that's all because of self-doubt. And yeah, like how do you battle that? Or that voice? I don't know. It's so, like, how do you get rid of that?
So I think self-doubt never leaves. It's like the weather in England. I think, it's always going to be rainy. And I think it's the same with self-doubt. I think that when you try to think that I'm actually going to battle that and like it's going to go away, I think it's the biggest stress rather than say, you know what, it's actually always going to be there. It's just never going to leave. And I think when I realized that, that's what made me feel more aligned and like more in peace with myself and more like, yes, this voice is always going to be there, but I'm just going to be louder. And so it's always there, like that voice for me is always there. Like I don't think it will ever leave my body and my brain. And I think it's like an evolutionary thing. Like it's something that has happened with evolution. It's trying to keep us safe. It's trying to keep us indoors. Like nobody will, hunt us, whatever. And so I think it's quite normal and natural, but I don't think that is something that will need to stop us. It needs to stop us. It's just something to get an umbrella for. And then, you should always go out. I think it's the same with weather in England, right? You shouldn't really stay indoors just because it's raining. Then you're going to be indoors for so many days a year. It doesn't make sense. If you...
Where do you get these analogies from? Like, is there a book of analogies?
No, it's just like
you need to do a book of analogies, because that is just, self-doubt is like the weather in England, okay? It's always going to rain, so it's always going to be there, but are you going to stay inside, or are you just going to get an umbrella and, oh my God, I'm going to put up an Instagram picture and I'm going to have to put that underneath. Are you going to get an umbrella and just go outside? I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that as well, because I think it helps me first, like, to fully understand and just take it in, but also it helps people, like my patients, my clients. Every time I explain something like that, it's just always easier. It's not like they don't understand. They do understand, but it's more like when they make it visual, it actually kicks in more, rather than just saying, oh, you should do this, or how about doing this? When you think about it, like an actual thing we all experience because you live here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'll say this because I know so many people that stay indoors in the winter and they're like, oh my God, the weather is not good and stuff like that. And it's like, what would you do, for example, if you were in a very warm climate, right? It was always going to be like very warm. Are you going to stay indoors there? And so I don't think it's a weather thing. It's more like a mentality thing.
Yeah.
So it's more about how badly do you actually want to live, or do you want to just like not live and find excuses all the time? Yeah, that's what I think.
I know some people that need to watch this episode, okay? Self-doubt is no excuse, girl. Would you say that an environment can play a big part in people's success and their, like, mindset?
So, like, what do you mean with environment?
So, environment in terms of, like, their living arrangements, or maybe the social environments, like people that they're around. Does that play a big part in how successful someone can become?
So I think it does play a big role. And I am an example of people that, like, for example, the people I grew up around, they weren't really wanting to be very successful enough. They weren't really aiming very high. Or, like, my parents were expecting me after graduation to get married and have children and not, and just leave next to them and just, like, nothing else. And so I do know many people who were successful because they were surrounded by successful people, but I also know myself that I was never surrounded by very ambitious people, but there was always something inside of me that I was really following. And still to this day, I don't think I'm surrounded by very ambitious people as well. Like my very, very good friends, they just want to, they just want to have their job, have their life. They don't want to try different things. They don't want to explore. And my family is pretty much similar as well.
Yeah.
So I think there are so many things that are starting from yourself, and you can position yourself wherever you want to position yourself. It doesn't have to do with where you grew up, how successful the people around you are, and what the people around you are looking for. It can help, and I've seen people that have been helped by that, and like big groups of people that all of them are successful and they're following the same path, etc., etc. And however, I'm just not one of those people, and that's why I think it can still be achieved if you follow yourself, if you follow what you want to follow. Again, if you're that kid on the street walking and saying, I want to try this, I want to try that, and you're not thinking, oh, but my parents never tried that, like, I've never had an image of that, can I actually be wealthy, can I be successful, can I be this? You can create it.
Yeah. See, I'm a big believer in that, and other people will be like, you can know this person had a leg up, or this person, and I just think it doesn't matter. Like, we can all reach that tier that you want to reach. Like, and I do feel like people sometimes use it as excuses, because they just don't want to put the work in. Yeah. But if you put the work in, you can still be successful. It might take you a bit longer or whatever, but I still feel like I'm a big believer in that. I still feel like your environment is not a reason for you not to be where you need to be. Maybe you're not there yet, but you can still be trying to get there, you know? I want to win an award for music, okay? What 4 things would you tell me, or tools would you give me to put into practice to make that achievable?
Okay, so I think the first thing I would say, the first tool would be why do you want to achieve that? What does this mean to you? Okay, so that would be the first thing.
Okay.
I think this is the rope that's going to drag you really towards the award. It's going to be like, why does it mean so much to me? Like, what is it connected to? I think that's the first thing. You really need to, hard work is very, very important, obviously, but then the first first things first, you really need to clear the ground and say, okay, why am I doing this for? What do I want? Why do you want to do this? What does this mean for me? I think that's the first thing you need to do. The second thing you need to do is hard work.
Yeah.
I think hard work is being demonized. And I'm not sure why. I really think hard work is what gets you results. And by hard work, it doesn't mean that, yes, you can find a better way and do it like quicker rather than before. But it's still hard work, isn't it? Like, it's still consistency. And hard work and consistency are together. I think even like, for example, one day you can do like 10%, and then the next day you can do like 20%. And then there is a day that you can do 90%.
Yeah.
Like, if there is a day you see that you can do more percent, you work that day, because you know the next day, for example, you may not do that. Yeah. But just like the third thing would be consistency. So second would be hard work. The third thing would be consistency. So just to not leave one day, because that consistency is also like building your identity.
Yeah.
I think that's what's very, very important in achieving everything. Because when you miss a day, or when you miss like 1-2 days, then you're not consistent. And so that identity doesn't exist. I think building that identity that's going to win that award is very, very, very important. It's just like equally important to working hard and to actually understanding why you're doing this for. And I think the fourth thing that I would say to you would be to just like write down what and who are you going to thank when you get that award. I think, again, this is visualization.
Visualization,
yeah. I think it's really getting a bad rep that it's just magic and you think things will happen to you, but it's more about preparing yourself for your future self, and then preparing yourself and saying, who am I going to say thank you? Am I going to say thank you to myself first, my parents first, who helped me? Like thinking, who has actually helped me within all this journey that I'm doing? Like, who has actually been there for me? Have I been there for me? And just like mentally thinking, maybe you just decide, oh, I'm actually going to say 1-2 things, and then it's going to be like a quick speech, and then, you know, maybe I'll
no, get there now. They'll wrestle the mic off me. Oh my god, that is amazing. Thank you so much. Like, I've learned so much. There's so much takeaway that I'm gonna take from this, and I just hope that everyone listening to it can honestly get your pens and write down, your phones out, your notes, and honestly, because you've given some real good gems and some tools that I know I'm 100% going to use. So I just hope other people can use. Okay, the next part of the episode is you guys have sent in some of your dilemmas, and Sotoria is going to be answering them. Okay, so kicking off, so we had a listener message in. I want to be successful, but I procrastinate a lot. How do you stay disciplined? Oh, we kind of covered this. And when you don't feel motivated?
I think it's again about thinking about your future self and what you want to achieve, and just always remember that motivation sounds sexy, but it's actually not. It's discipline that is sexy.
Yeah.
It's discipline that's going to give you the stability you need to grow and to be successful in life. I think it's the same when, if I compare it to relationships again and marriages, right? It's like that sexy guy you see and you think it's going to give you, you know, this and that, whatever, and he's actually not going to give you the great life. Yeah, he's actually not going to give you the great life. And then you see the other person who doesn't look like that sexy or that glamorous or whatever, but then he's the person who's actually going to give you. And I'm not saying anything about sexy guys, but
stay away from the sexy guys. Trust me, stay away.
I'm just saying that, you know, like somebody who has qualities that you cannot see from the outside, that is discipline. You cannot see from the outside because you just look normal, because you do the reps every day and you just look normal. But that's what actually is taking you to the goal. And then you need to think, do you just want to be like the glamorous, or do you want the glamour of it, or do you actually want to be that person at the end? Do you want to actually achieve that?
That was amazing. Number 2, I'm scared to go after big goals because I don't want to fail publicly. How do you get over that fear?
I think it's good to fail. I think it's good to have the mentality that it's good to fail. And I think going back to our conversation about how we were brought up about, you know, it was always like a negative thing, like you didn't do this, you did this wrong, you got a C, you didn't brush your teeth well. So it's more about like something being positive and being like, I failed, and seeing failure as like lesson. So like reframing it as like, oh, I got a lesson today. Oh, I got another lesson today. And then no one can actually fail on your behalf. So for example, you cannot hire someone to fail on your behalf. You cannot have anyone else do what you want to do on your behalf just because you're ashamed of failing.
Yeah.
And failing is actually a way forward because you learned. And I was having a similar conversation with a friend of mine. So I sent her a voice note and I said, remember, staying idle is more expensive always, because like if you fail, say you're in 0, right? You just go to -5 and then you bring with you +10 of experience. So you're actually going to go forward. If you stay in 0, you're just stuck in 0 forever.
Yeah.
And
I've failed at many things, and I can really sympathise with this person, because I think it's the people around, and it's this whole embarrassing thing. It's like you just feel embarrassed, or you've put something out and it hasn't worked, and I don't know, people are laughing at you. But then at the end of the day, have they even tried to do something on the level that you've done it? Probably not. So it's all well and good for them to laugh, but you need to at least give yourself a pat on the back that you tried, you know? It's fine to try and fail. You just try again until something sticks.
That's true. And I don't think embarrassment is actually something of a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. It's a feeling, like you feeling embarrassed, and that's normal and natural. But then how much do other people control your life? Are you controlling your life, or are other people controlling your life? So it's good to feel embarrassed and to care about what other people think and say. But then that's not your driving force. Who's driving the car? Is it you driving the car, or is it other people driving the car? That's the most important thing, to think that failing will happen and it's normal. It's not like, oh my God, I failed. It's more like, yes, this is life. Yeah. Welcome. Hello. Yeah. I think this is the first thing I'm going to teach my kids when I have kids. I'm going to say, listen, you're going to fail, and this is what life is. This is like how life is lived. And it's just like we didn't grow up this way, isn't it? Like everywhere, we just didn't grow up.
I think it's nice when you have like, I don't know, like athletes or other people that people look up to, like talking about how many times they failed and all the no's that they've had. And then, because all we see is the success, you know? So when you find out someone's backstory, you're like, oh my God. And it happens to everyone. Yeah. Even someone that you might look up to, you know, they've probably failed many times before they got to where they were. So yeah, I think don't feel embarrassed, and everyone fails. Yeah. We all fail. It's how you come back. We've got a couple more. I feel like I'm capable of more, but I don't know where to start. How do you figure out your next move?
I think it's going back again to never staying idle. So never just staying without doing anything in life. I think that's the worst thing you can do in life, not doing anything. Yeah. Because like we have this expression in Greece, and we say that while you're eating, your appetite comes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there's a similar one in English, but I think it's very helpful, because it's only when you're living life that you understand what you want and what you want to do. And I think even being a dentist, like I studied dentistry, but then I didn't really know what I will do. Like I didn't really know how it is to be a dentist until I actually worked as a dentist. And then the first year to the 9th year is so much different, just because of doing the reps. And so if you never put yourself out there, how are you going to know your next move if you're not moving? So if you're not moving, you will never know your next move. And then it may be like 10 things that you're going to be moving towards, but then things will actually clear out, but they will only be more clear if you're actually putting in the reps. You can never understand, will I actually, like, for example, Greece, and I'm just staying in my flat in London? Like, you will never know, because you've never been there. And I think that's very, very important, the experience. Like, experience is something you cannot buy and somebody cannot give you. It's something you need to experience for yourself. It's a currency you create for yourself. You just cannot take it from someone else.
100%. So to figure out your next move, you need to move.
Yeah.
Move.
100%.
Okay, let's do one more. This is a good one, I think. I've outgrown my circle, but I feel guilty moving on. Is that part of growth?
I think that's a great question.
This is a great one.
That's a great question. And I think I've been asked this question many times from my clients and like people around me and friends and everything. And it's like, I think going back to what we said before, like, can you actually achieve if you're not surrounded by successful people? And I think feeling guilty is normal and it's okay. It just shows you that you care. It's the same with stress. It just shows you that you care. And it's absolutely fine and normal and maybe necessary. But if you stay on guilt and you don't move on forward from that, I think you're going to be just one day, how I think about myself, I'm going to be in my deathbed and I'm going to be thinking, I just followed someone else's advice, or someone else is feeling comfortable enough myself. Congratulations. But it's more like, I don't even think that people of your circle, if they're aiming lower, they will stop you. I have never experienced that. Like, for example, my friends, I love them so much. They're so supportive. I said, there are times that I'm just very busy with all the things I do. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to be very responsive, but if you need anything, please call me. I will be there.
Yeah.
But I'm just not free to just, like hang out for like 20 hours a day or just like go for a coffee for 20 hours a day. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just not free for that. So I think that if your people around you, you outgrow them, but they make you feel guilty, that's on them. That's not on you. If you feel guilty, that's something normal, but that's something you need to overcome if you want to. If again, you're serious about going where you want to go, or if you're more serious about staying in your comfort. So I think both can be handled.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow, guys, I hope that answers your questions. I think that last one was really, really good as well, as I think that's very common of people feeling like they've outgrown their circle. But then I like what you said about, obviously when we talked about the environment as well, so that can't be an excuse for you not to, do what you need to do. So yeah, very, very interesting. Guys, that has brought us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Soteria, for coming on and leaving all your gems. I've got so much to take away from this episode. Honestly, I've learned so much, and I feel like, I'm not even going to try and use the word motivation for the rest of the year. It is about dedication and consistency. Yeah. Forget the sexy guy or motivation, because they're gone for the time being. But no, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Yes, it was lovely. Thank you.
Honestly, so good. Where can people find you if people want to contact you and have some coaching?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram on BEA REAL, and my YouTube channel is again under BEA REAL. So they can find me there. I have my calendar. They can book an appointment with me.
I might just have to sign up and stuff. So yeah, if you want some coaching and, you see what she does, it's amazing. And just sign up. I'm going to put all her information below. Once again, guys, I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Remember, you can subscribe. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast, you can hear us. Please listen in, comment, like, share, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much.